might not even show up at all. Except for Aghanim and Ganon. Those guys stay the same.
Looks like we're off and we have a green potion in Link's house. So that'll be good once we get to Kakariko.
Yep, this is standard. Or no, not standard. It's open mode. So we are having two different starts. Someone is doing the Uncle route, one of my favorite routes, because you can get a tree pull, like he's doing right here. Not a great tree pull. And you can also get 2 items here. Now this is randomized swords, so he's not going to grab a sword from the Uncle, but we'll get something else. Looks like Swerb is doing the Houlihan room right off the bat.
We also got a map check. I saw a blue crystal on Tower of Hera in Eastern, and I think it's 6 in Desert. Yep, 6. Crystal 6 is in Desert.
Alright, we have a bottle already. That was in Link's house. So someone can go visit Kakariko whenever he wants and talk to the sick kid, whereas Swerb is getting some early money, probably to either buy bombs, potentially do Zora early, or visit the bottle merchant.
Yeah, that's a pretty good play for these kind of seeds when you don't know if you're going to have enough money for what you want to do. You at least get a bit of a safety.
Someone put traps on the overworld. It's kind of devious. I mean, they're not very well hidden. Swerb does get a bomb from one of those 2 50-50 areas, so he's going to be able to, at the very least, check, or at the very least, farm for more bombs if he wants to, or he could use it here and get the lamp.
Yeah, that's an interesting call, whether he wants to use his one bomb for the lamp.
I mean, if you have the rupees to buy bombs, you might as well just get a nice 10-pack and, continue through Kakariko like nothing ever happened.
And nothing really in Lost Wood, so hopefully Kakariko will have a bit more progression for them. So with this lamp, and with how Randomizer works, the fact that they no longer bow lock kill rooms, it means those red Igors are gone now from Eastern Palace. So they can at least get all the way to the boss and find out what the enemy is, and depending if they get a weapon of some kind before then, they might even be able to do Eastern Palace right off.
Yeah, I think Eastern is a pretty good choice at this point. I mean, once you clear out the other early game spots. If it's vanilla Armos with that boomerang, we could actually kill it now. It would take a long time, but you could do it. I don't know if that's ever forced.
I don't think it's forced, but it would be amusing to see if someone actually wants to take the time to do that.
Now I'm actually hoping for a vanilla... Oh my goodness. This is a very dangerous room. Hoping for a vanilla Armos with nothing else before it.
Yeah, this is the kind of chicken room I like to see.
This mimic is completely annoying. Just for some more bombs, too. Now, these thieves, I'm pretty sure in Randomizer are... Yeah, they're killed in Earth. And that could cause some issues and general annoyance, especially when they just show up in the middle of a dungeon.
Yeah, thankfully they did change that so they are killable. They don't take too much damage, so they're pretty easy to kill as long as you can see them coming. Ooh. And we've got a Moon Pearl on the Bottle Merchant.
That's good for Swerb, especially considering you farmed the money. Or farmed is, I guess, the wrong term. You went to the Houlihan to get money. And Silver's here in Kakariko well. So once we have the bow, those will be very useful.
Yeah, and I believe someone's gonna get the money needed for the bottle merchant through this hideout, so it's not gonna be too much of an issue.
Yeah, it's just going to be a little tiny bit of time spent, you know, backtracking, but it's not really the biggest of... Get a shield here and a heart container, which is actually really nice in Randomizer. You don't know what you're going to be coming up against in most situations, and some enemies can do quite a bit of damage, especially if you say go to the castle and find Lionels inside.
Yeah, because with the bosses being shuffled, their damage tables come along with them. So if you find a Dark World enemy in Light World, they'll do the Dark World damage. It can get pretty scary. So it looks like someone didn't actually get the bottle merchant.
That's actually a little scary. Hopefully he just didn't think to go back yet, and didn't just forget about it entirely. Other than that, it looks like we're just going to be covering each other's tracks for a little bit. So, with what we have so far, I mean, we pretty much just have access to Eastern Palace. We might be able to finish it, we might not. Still have the South Shore to do, so there's a few items there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure something in South Shore will give them a bit more direction of where to go.
I'm just pulling for nothing in the South Shore, nothing in Sahasrolo's Hut, nothing in Eastern Palace except for at Armos, which is vanilla.
You really want to see that boomerang fight.
Yes. More than you know. But both of our runners are pretty close to each other. Swerb still has that advantage in the Moon Pearl. So someone does need to go back there very soon. You have the Canis Samaria. That's good.
Doesn't really unlock anything, but it's a nice item to have. It'll make the mini Moldorm cave a bit easier on them.
Yeah. I don't know. Does the Canis Samaria hurt Armos Knights? I would assume so.
I'm not 100% sure.
Typically speaking, it does the same as a fighter sword to most enemies, so it'd still take quite a long time. Swerb needs to watch out his health a little bit. Oh, this is a really nice mini Moldorm cave. Except it would be a lot nicer if you use your Canis Maria. There you go. That was some pretty efficient clearing right there. Okay, we have a glove. We have half magic. And a sword.
So as long as the boss in Eastern's not too difficult, they can do it now.
Yeah. Another interesting option would be if it's Helmasaur, and we have to use bombs to break the map.
I see your idea now. You just want the evil stuff.
Yep. That's why you play Randomizer, or rather, why you watch other people play Randomizer. Seems like Swerb hasn't realized the Canis Samaria is in his inventory.
He also doesn't have magic.
Oh, that's true.
I mean,
And
can
our
I get
stun
magic?
prize. Yeah, our stun prize is 20 rupees, so that's actually really nice, especially if we need to go to Zoras. Alright, nothing great at Ice Rod Cave, although another heart container is definitely good to see. It's just nothing that's progression. Someone might be heading back towards the Bottle Merchant. Or, oh, he's going to the backside of Escape, the sewer sequence. Because there's 3 chests there.
Yeah, it's not a bad play.
Yeah, it's something I like to get out of the way, like, immediately once I have the glove in open mode. This is a fun room. He's doomed to blow himself up there. Someone should probably grab some of these pots here. There's... Oh, never mind. He's just going to quit. But if there was a key there with the lamp in hand, he could have very easily just backtracked and grabbed the last chest in the sewer segment.
Yeah, for sure. So it's too bad he doesn't have the Moon Pearl, because now he would have the cash for Zora if he wanted to go up there.
Also, shoutouts to Konami. Oh, never mind. It's no longer the Konami number. 573. Alright, both of our runners are going downstairs in the castle, which is actually pretty brave considering the enemy density and the lack of mobility. These long hallways can make this very dangerous, especially if you run into something like the Lionels. Alright.
That'll help.
Blue mail is always welcome, whereas red mail is for cowards. Blue mail is for cool guys. And both of these guys are apparently cool guys today.
Well, blue is a good color, so I would agree with that. But it's
also
especially helpful with 4 hearts.
Mm. It's also a cool color, like, you know, in terms of temperature. Anyway.
Well, that room just has a rat for the shovel.
Yeah, this castle's been pretty tame so far. Randomizer can be a lot meaner. Alright. So, is there anything for us in here? If there's a small key here, that means someone is going to have to check the dark sewer if he doesn't want to miss out on items. And there isn't. So it looks like that key is actually in that sewer chest. Also, now that I think about it, someone probably shouldn't have even bothered checking that. Because there's only the small key and then the map.
Yeah, it didn't hurt to be safe, but could have saved a little bit of time.
Yeah, we've seen runners fall because they forgot, or they thought they saw the map, but they didn't.
So he's immediately going to take that shovel and check out what it is.
Yeah, especially when you're this early, following the breadcrumbs can be very lucrative, and such as it is, we do find the hammer buried under the ground.
Which is, now it makes it really bad that he doesn't have the Moon Pearl. He could have immediately gone to Dark World. Although he is going back to the village, or it looks like he is.
Yep, looks like he remembered, or at least, you know, calculated this earlier on and made a decision not to talk to the bottle merchant. You know, he might have not talked to the bottle merchant just in case he needed Zora money, because money was actually pretty tight that early on.
That's understandable, which means he's going to get the Moon Pearl and be in a good position that if he wants, he can just do Village of Outcast.
Yep, and that's exactly where he's going right now. He's going to be the first of our runners into the Dark World. Swerb, on the other hand, is going to be heading into Eastern Palace. Now, this isn't all Dungeon Seed, and Eastern Palace is a crystal, but, you know, the sooner you get dungeons done, the better, I guess. So, if he can clear it, he might as well clear it right now.
And if he can't clear it, he at least has knowledge of what the boss is for when he has to come back here. So our other 5-6 is Swamp Palace with Green Pendant at Misery Mire, Ice Palace and Turtle Rock are the last 2 pendant.
Yep. So an Randomizer, the only thing you need the bow for like assuredly, is to finish Palace of Darkness. In Randomizer, as you said earlier, the red Igors aren't there. They're replaced by other enemies, so we can just, you know, poke things with our sword and be happy.
Yeah, there's still a few bosses we can't defeat yet, but there are potentially a few that we could. So coming in here, we could find one of those bosses that we can defeat right now.
Alright, so someone is in Skullwoods. Unfortunately, has to check on this party Gibdo room, which is a bit sad of a party as there's only one Gibdo in it. And just some hands.
Oh, that's an evil roller.
Yeah. Alright, so far nothing great here in Eastern Palace. We can get some hints. It's a secret to everybody, including us, I guess. Alright, Swerb is taking caution and is going to be visiting the vanilla big key chest. The last item could be on Armos, but you know, I like this play. You don't want to leave locations, especially considering you'd have to dip the dungeon if the item isn't at where Armos is.
Yeah, especially this early in the game, there's no sense taking a risk yet. I mean, I had this discussion with someone else the other day. It would take longer, obviously, to check this if you're wrong, but if you had to come back here, it's even longer to go through the dungeon, and he finds the item. So
yeah, he would be tempted at the very least to come back inside, but unfortunately, nothing good is in Eastern Palace. There's a good chance we can clear it. It's just, ugh. This room is not fun.
Yeah, that chicken could be a handful.
Alright. At least we got rid of the lag. That was actually one of the tamer iterations of that room I've seen in Randomizer.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, but that lag could have been I'd pose a bit bigger of an issue. And if he had accidentally hit the chicken a few times, that could have been even worse.
Alright, so someone is heading into Thieves Town, the first look we're getting in this dungeon. And in a few seconds we're gonna see what is actually at Armos. Wow, this room is just not fun.
And our first boss, Landmos, so he can actually defeat this. It'll take a while, but he can do it.
Ugh, this boss with Fighter Sword. I know, like, that's vanilla, but still. It's not fun. Should probably be going for more spin attacks. It looks like he's poking them instead. It's not doing any less damage than a Fighter Sword Slash, but it's still probably better to just do spin attacks. Alright, one's down, two's down. And that is all three Landmolas down. For our first...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's our first crystal.
And I was just going to say that, so for the front of Thieves Town, had absolutely nothing worthwhile.
Yeah. I'm starting to think maybe the mountain might have something. I mean, there's only a few items available to us, but
Yeah, they could only get the Old Man and Spectacle Rock Cave.
we also have Hype Cave available to us still, I believe. I think someone has only been able to do some of Skullwoods, and then... oh boy. And then hopped into this dungeon where he's found Vitreous, which would be really easy if only he had a bow. He's being very... Ooh, I was going to say he's being very cautious. He might actually take a death here.
It looks like Swerb is going up to the mountain to see what those two items are.
Yeah, at the very least, if you don't find the flute right away, it gives you a convenient way up the mountain. Fortunately, someone takes a death, doesn't have a fairy or anything.
Hallway. That was pretty laggy.
Yeah. One of the good things about that hallway is the fact that a lot of the times, or a lot of enemies will spawn in the wall and won't be able to hurt you. A unique item is at the Old Man today in the form of a single arrow.
So with Randomizer, someone was able to go right to the boss room without having to go through the rest of the dungeon. But now that he knows it's Vitreous, it looks like he's going to actually complete the dungeon the correct way to see what else he can find.
Yeah, I definitely like that play. I also like those ghostly enemies. These rooms are kind of interesting once you turn the Randomizer on, because I guess the rooms are just hard coded to make the enemies invisible or transparent. The unique item requires the hammer. That could mean a lot of things. I don't know exactly which things. Probably... Well, I know the Peg Cave, for one. Mimic Cave. Probably...
There's a few in Ice Palace.
Yeah.
There's a lot in Ganon's Tower.
What about...
this boss?
Yeah, what about Turtle Rock? Or does it not count Turtle Rock for that?
Turtle Rock doesn't count because hints have to work for all modes currently. And in inverted mode, you can get into Turtle Rock without the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
So Spike Cave, Swamp Palace, Thieves Town has... And unfortunately, Mimic Cave, I think, has its own hint regarding specifically Mimic Cave, so that doesn't actually count as a hammerlock.
So Swerb finally digging up the hammer. He's reaching an item parity, and is going to go towards Hype Cave first. So he's going to be showing us something new, whereas someone is still digging his way through Thieves Town.
So if he doesn't get the key here, we at least know Thieves Town big key. Big chest is not anything.
Yeah. Chad is pointing out the unique item requiring hammer is a bit useless, which I agree with, but it also incentivizes you to check stuff like the Peg Cave once you get access to it, so it can actually change up your routing. Or, like, you know, incentivize you to go into Ice Palace. And now with the the glove from Hype Cave, that actually does open up the Peg Cave for us. And the mirror. Wow, this is a reasonably hype.
Mirror and Titansmiths, I'd say that's pretty hype. Because he can immediately go the south route to do Stumpy, the cave, digging game, and then go up to the village.
Yeah, that was definitely the better call. Someone finds the Master Sword here in the Village of Outcasts, which Swerb will get before he ever sees Turtle Rock, Thieves.
Yeah, he should get that before that. I don't see a reason why he wouldn't check that before going to Thieves Town.
I don't know if I would call that a 10 out of 10 hype cave. I've seen more hype caves, especially in V, what was it, 18? Anyway, Quake at the dig game. That's, that could be useful.
And at least there's a quick dig too. Only 4 digs required.
Alright, Stumpy just has a piece of heart for us today. And looks like we're going to be retracing each other's steps for a little bit. So I guess, like, speculation time. What do you think the next move is? You know, once both of these runners see everything the others have seen.
There's not a lot they can do. They can dip pod and hope that... Oh, there's actually no Bollock side for pod, so they can get quite a bit of items in there, but realistically, otherwise, they can't do a lot of dungeons yet.
Yeah. So with someone getting the mire, I think that's going to incentivize him to go over to the Palace of Darkness area. He might dip Palace of Darkness before Eastern Palace, but he's going to be able to clear both. He's going to be able to clear Eastern Palace at the very least and do a ton of Palace of Darkness. And the only thing that's blocked off is the boss.
And he might even have an easier time of Eastern Palace with the hammer.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he could still do tempered slashes. Or, sorry, tempered power slashes with the Master Sword on Landmola, saving a lot of time compared to what the Swerb had to go.
Looks like he's going to check the pyramid quickly first, which makes sense.
This is an interesting peg cave area.
Not the worst I've seen, but that could have been pretty bad with all the different bombs.
Yeah.
The worst one I've seen in this area is 4 different rollers all rolling in 4 different directions.
That would be ridiculous. I think this is our first pyramid check. Just a heart container. But again, this mode can be somewhat brutal. So the more health, the better. Someone is heading over towards Palace of Darkness, unfortunately skipping out on Catfish. Actually, if he did Catfish, he could very easily have just mirrored and done the Zora area as well, but I guess he probably wants to wait until he has the flippers to do that.
It makes sense, because otherwise he's leaving the 2 waterfall chests there. At least he has plenty of money to pay off Kiki.
Yeah. Someone also gets the nice feeling of being able to route in the Sahasrara hut, along with entering Palace of Darkness. One thing he needs to be aware of, which I'm sure he is the fact that when you mirror inside that little shrub area, you need to like exit it and re-enter it and exit it again for Kiki to spawn.
Yep, he was aware.
I've gotten so many seeds where I've forgotten that.
Yeah, Seed I was tracking yesterday. Someone remembered to do that, but had forgotten they had already gotten Kiki earlier in the game and didn't need to do that.
Okay, so someone is going to be clearing out Eastern Palace, going to be finding nothing of note. Swerb is going to be doing Thieves Town and ending up with the same thing. Now, Swerb might be able to finish off Vitreous, depending on how nice Vitreous is to. Also, he might actually die. Oh, it's on the bottom level. That bird.
Not that one though.
Yeah, that one's on the top. So if you're a bit confused, basically in areas like this, there's an upper level and a lower level, and an enemizer. If an enemy spawns on the lower level, it's on the lower level at all times, I guess, including things that can fly. So this bird is only going to be dangerous to him once he jumps back down. Although these ones are going to be dangerous to him until he jumps.
Very nice strategy though.
I think Swerb is trying to find some extra health or something from this pots. These bush crabs, pot crabs, I guess. Oh, it was actually hearts today. Just threw it in the wrong spot.
Well, he got one extra heart. Something's better than nothing.
Yeah, but unfortunately, at this rate, he'll still die to a single vitreous eyeball. Not if he picks up this heart here, but it looks like he's gonna go try and finish the rest of the dungeon first. Honestly, I like someone's strategy better of just trying the boss first, because having to go through the dungeon twice is probably faster. I haven't timed it or anything, but it's probably faster to walk into the dungeon twice, especially when you have the mirror, than going downstairs, grabbing the girl, or not even grabbing the girl, grabbing the chest you can, and then coming back upstairs.
Yeah, I haven't played enough to know timing like that. Although he is one hit away from death.
Yeah, he might have to do 2 dips regardless. This is scary. This is not a very nice room. Let's call a spade a spade. Well, that was a good juke.
And someone in Eastern Palace found the key a lot faster than Swerb did. Was able to get outside of that lag room without killing a lot of enemies.
Yeah. So Swerb doesn't have the hint that was there. I forget what that was. Was that the unique item requires a hammer?
Pretty
hint?
sure it was.
Yeah, not necessary. Oh, this is just god-awful. Swerb trying Zelda 1 strats is standing in the doorway. Unfortunately, you do not get the invincibility in this game. And he also forgets that he doesn't need to do this. Might not play a ton of Randomizer. Also demonstrating the fact that these Hinox, they die to a single bomb.
Meanwhile, in Eastern, someone is trying Master Sword spins with hammer. Try to kill these land moles pretty quickly. Gets to.
Alright, Swerb is actually going for that hint. Was able to clear the enemies out first, which is good. No powder to capitalize on that bunny beam. And our runners have reached dungeon parity. Swerb taking an unfortunate death. And we're finally going to be seeing some new ground here in the form of Palace of Darkness, one of the few locations we still have to check to open up, new progress. What do you think we're going to find in here?
Just to be annoying, I think the bow. Even though you only need it for the boss. How often is the bow usually in this dungeon? Let's put it in here and Randomizer.
Now, with that, I think that If the bow is in here, then Helmasaur would probably have to have something, or else one of the other miscellaneous locations would as well. Like Zora. Catfish. Got ghostly skeletons for double the spookiness.
So item in plain sight. I'm pretty sure we've already seen that with the lantern, but I wonder if that actually is a different one.
Yeah. We've had races, or I've seen races where the hint actually applied to more than one item. In that case, I think it was someone friendly has a unique item. Or no, sorry, a unique item can be purchased. And both the bottle vendor and Zora had an item.
So with this being in plain sight, it should be pretty easy to find. They'll probably come across it at some point. So they're not going to go hunting specifically for that.
Yeah, I don't think we saw, or I think we did see what was on Spectacle Rock Cave. I don't think it was anything good. Other locations could be Zorlage, could be the first item in Hera. That's down the stairs on the left.
Yeah, I think Floating Island, like Halley Island.
Those two islands. All right, so Swerb, gonna have a bit of an easier time with Master Sword, and a lot of health. Ooh, still only has one more hit remaining though. He needs to be very careful.
Someone finding powder in Palace of Darkness, though.
Yep, that will allow us to check the magic bat because we have all the other requirements to get there.
It's also a good safety for how many anti-fairies will be around.
Alright, Swerb is making me very nervous here. Vitreous eyeballs are incredibly simple in how they operate, but I don't know. I can never get over it. Alright, this Vitreous Hug will kill. Swerb needs to get about, what, 16 or so hits with a hammer? Or a charged Master Sword spin. Ooh! Vitreous takes another head. That's gotta hurt, especially after you spend so much time going through the dungeon. And Swerb is not taking that lying down. I mean, he did originally, but he got back up. And he won't be taking it lying down. Alright, someone still has yet to find anything great here in this dungeon, I don't think. Oh, he's down to a hit again. This is scary. Do we know if there's any items in here? Or is this just a completion at this?
I'm not sure. I'd have to see their menu.
I don't think Swerb has gone downstairs yet. Or has he? He did take the one death. I thought he just went to the boss. So was that nothing? In Palace of Darkness?
Seems like it.
So,
well, powder, but
oh.
the likelihood of that being something.
I mean, at this rate, it's pretty high, considering the only other locations are like Zora, Catfish, Graveyard Ledge. So we're back to the final phase of Vitreous. Just doing some slashes now. I like this strat.
Someone looks like he's gonna check what's on Lumberjack.
Yeah. Oh man. This is intense. Oh good. Goodness. Nothing good at Lumberjack, I don't think.
No, it looks like 50 rupees.
And nothing at Vitreous except for a crystal. That does put Swerb in the lead in terms of crystals, but that doesn't necessarily mean much at this rate.
with how many items they still have left to find, that's not a huge problem. Because I'm pretty sure once someone goes there with better equipment, he's going to be able to do that much quicker, save a little bit more time.
Yeah. Swerb heading up towards Skullwoods. We know there's nothing good there. Surprised someone didn't go to the. Has someone checked Peg Cave and all that yet? I don't think he has.
He hasn't, so when he goes to check there, he'll have the powder to do one extra check.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't do that first, considering all. I mean, I guess the mirror gets you into Hera and gets you over towards East Death Mountain once you have the hammer.
Also, probably maybe also one of the save point with no flute. This gives them better access for later.
Yeah. I changed my mind. This is a good play. Better than checking that dumb or that dingbat, I guess. Someone not doing this sight unseen for the free hint. So I guess he's going to be leaving that hint to be unread. I don't know. Did Swerb check that one?
I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't think he did. Unfortunately, we don't have a book, so we can't check Ether Tablet while we're up here. I mean, it could be in Hera, but it's unlikely.
A good chance for a coffee break soon.
Some bombs requires a bomb. Great.
We get to avoid the coffee break for a little bit.
I think that hint was actually referring to the chicken hut in Kakariko.
It could be. Let's hope we get 2 items before we have to go to the coffee break room.
Well, it's looking a little. Ooh, the Book of Medora is in Misery Mire. That's a hint.
Which means we're likely not going to need it. Because to get into Desert, we can... If we have access to Mire, we have access to Mirror over to Desert Palace.
Did we... What was in the big chest there? Did you see?
I don't recall offhand.
Yeah, we'll see what someone does after finishing off whatever's here. As to whether or not that was the compass. It's Mothula. This is an interesting room for Mothula.
Shouldn't be too much of a problem, though.
Yeah. What? The spikes! There's spikes!
But they're not actually going to attack them, because they're just over the edge.
Yeah, they're stuck. Swerb seeing a bottle on that ledge. I don't know if someone checked that yet, but it's not
I think someone
necessary to go
did.
there.
But with a compass and them already finding the map, Coffee Break Room does have an item. Chat saying the big chest was a big 20.
Yep, and it looks like Mothula had our compass, so someone's going back inside. Going to the Coffee Break Room. Speaking of, I should go get some coffee. Ah, well. Let's see what the tiles spell out for us today.
Not even picking up the bottle while you were there. Oh yeah, I forgot that the tiles can technically erase the blocks.
What is it? Is it Ether Medallion? It's like Pictionary. Or not Pictionary. What's that game? Whatever. I think actually it might just be a smiley face. Actually, I can't tell what that is. Alright, let's see what we went through that wonderful display for. Just a piece of heart. Oh, it's a Metroid.
And with that, someone's going to go to the east side of Death Mountain for the Paradox Cave and Spiral Cave, which should net him 8 items, I believe. And can even check to see what Turtle Rock is.
Yep, and we're gonna see there is a unique item in plain sight. Right there.
So that's actually pretty good. Go to Dark Death Mountain afterwards, do Super Bunny, go into Hookshot Cave to grab the flippers.
So that lets us get into Skull, or not Skull, Swamp Palace, but we can't actually beat it until we find the hookshot. Now that doesn't mean anything. There could still be required progression in there that requires a logical double dip. But that also unlocks some of the overworld stuff that oh, never mind.
Never mind.
Swamp Palace is clearable. And we can also check...
Well, it all depends on what the boss is.
Yeah, we can also check Hookshot Cave now. Which is great, because we're almost there.
So that was actually a really good find, really timely find.
Yep. Someone is going to check Paradox Cave. And then probably head back outside, grab the portal, then do Super Bunny Cave.
Yeah, that makes sense. That seems to be the usual play that I've seen people do when they have Mitts and Mire at this point.
Yeah, I like it. Swerb, down to 2.5 hearts on Mothula. Not that threatening, especially when you don't have the spikes all around. But he probably will be heading downstairs as well. Unfortunately, has nothing good for him. Ooh! So that cane opens up,
Spike Cave.
yeah, Spike Cave, logically speaking.
Which is not a bad thing when you're in this area anyways. Someone did the bomb jump forgetting that he could just drop down and grab his portal.
Yeah. It's practice, you know? Can never bomb jump too many times. I mean, unless you run out of hearts and die.
So someone's actually... Death Mountain has all the timely items. The fact that the hookshot allowed you to finish Hookshot Cave while you're still up here. Cave of Brian allows you to go do Spike Cave and clear that while you're here. You're basically clearing the mountain except for Triple Rock before you actually leave. And that mushroom maybe now will push him to check Zora and Catfish area.
I'm not seeing a Metroid there, but I'll take chat's word for it. Okay, so we need Ether to get into Turtle Rock. This is an all dungeon seed. Remember, chat, even though we have a really nice pendant layout, if this weren't all dungeons, we're gonna have to do it regardless.
Hookshot Cave mostly full of love.
And bombs. Lovely bombs. That anti-fairy is such a good placement in this area.
Showing you the way. In case you didn't know, this is the way out of the Spiral Cave.
The cave that only has that has no branching paths.
You never know, could get lost somehow.
Just hug the left wall. Okay, so someone grabs the flippers and is heading over towards Spike Cave. which, as you said earlier, is a good idea when you're already up here. And that's going to complete our Death Mountain collection, except for Ether Tablet.
But they know that the book is in Misery Mire, so they're not going to get that before they leave.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. Is this cane required? No. All right, so where do you go with those flippers? I guess I would probably just do the overworld stuff first.
Yeah, with the flippers and mushroom, I think I would have prioritized going up to Witch, Catfish, Sora. But
oh, never mind. I forgot we found the hook shot. So someone's just going into the swamp.
I mean, that's not a bad play either, but you could chain them all together. You can chain doing the overworld check and then going to Swamp Palace. Or chain it coming out of Swamp Palace, whichever works.
Yeah. A lot of runners tend to just ignore overworld checks while dungeons can be cleared, which I don't disagree with a lot of the times. Right now, with all the items that are still outstanding, I don't want to discount the fact, or discount the idea that the flippers might have unlocked something, in the Zora area or Hobo or something. Some caches in Mimic Cave, that's good to know.
So if they don't find anything in Swamp Palace, though, there's no other dungeon that they can logically get to. They've already cleared out Pod as much as they can in Pod. They can't access Desert. They can't access the rest of Skullwoods. They know Thieves Town is just the boss left. Ice Palace they can't get into. Then it's just Mire. They don't have the flute and Turtle Rock they can't get into.
Yeah, if someone was paying attention as well, he would know that the boss in Thieves Town also just has the compass. So it's not, he doesn't have to go fight Vitreous until it's like his last thing, if he doesn't care to do so. Or like right before he, heads to Mothula or something.
Yeah, so they'll have the 6 items in here, and then they'll have to, unless they get something that progresses them to another dungeon, they'll have to start checking Overworld somewhere.
Yeah. I'm feeling pretty good about Swamp Palace today.
Let's see if you're right.
It would be funny if Zora had something good for us, and we've just been baited across this entire seed to go other places. Like, I don't know, maybe the Fire Rod at Zora would be probably one of the better things, or the boots. That would be really good.
As long as you're clearing dungeons, though, and that's the goal, then you're not really wasting time.
Yeah, but if the boots are at Zora or in Zora area, you could you could save a lot of time in this dungeon.
Yeah, that's true as well.
All right, someone is skipping left side for now. Wasn't paying attention to the dungeon items we found. But
well, Green Rupee was in the bottom chest, the big U. I don't remember the first one though.
Alright, Swerb getting that really painful heart. I like the enemies don't really like water that well in this game. Even like angle deep water. So these enemies just sort of are really bad at moving around in it. So someone found the big key and is not going back down to check the big chest and is just.
He also found the compass, so there is one item in the left side at the very least. So if he has a plan to come back it makes sense to save the big chest until he's coming back on his way.
Yeah, he's definitely committing on re-entering this dungeon a second time, I think. And honestly, like, that's probably the best bet for him. Like, if the big key is in the backside of the dungeon, I mean, you don't know that until you check. But if the big key is in the backside of the dungeon, you probably save more time doing what someone is doing. Oh look, Landmola's.
Another boss that's pretty easy in this area.
Is this room changed to not have water? Or wait,
Looks like it.
yeah, it normally has water, right? Anyway, Swerb is heading, I guess, first to check the Ice Rod Cave and get his heart container. But next he'll probably be going up to Zora.
So someone finding Bombos. That actually now unlocks Ice Palace for them.
Yeah, but not to be deterred, someone does realize there's still some stuff in here. And we're gonna go get it. At least 2 items, right?
Oh, so that was actually Sandcart in Ice Rod Cave.
Nice. Yep. So someone will probably head over to Ice Palace immediately after this. I mean, the dungeon itself isn't too bad, and considering it's Randomizer, we're not guaranteed cold stare there, which is one of the main reasons why Ice Palace is a bit sketchy. I mean, it could have Trinex, which would be the absolute worst, because double dipping Ice Palace is a massive time sink. Oh, we have 2 items.
Yep, 2 items on the left side. And there's the fire rod.
Well, I was kind of close. I said fire rod and Zora. It's just a few screens away. So that gives us another entry into Ice Palace. I wonder if Swerb might do that before heading into Swamp, especially considering Ice Palace has 3 hints for us, and one of the hints might tell us what's on the left side of Swamp Palace.
Yeah, that seems like a good play, that now that you have the fire rod, go into Ice Palace. Because if they do find a hint for left side, that will save a lot of time. Unless there is something useful over here to have to do that anyways.
Some expensive love from King Zora today. But that fire rod more than makes up for the trip. And we have a ton of rupees regardless.
Yeah, that was just a drip in the bucket.
And we're going to be seeing here what's on the left side of Swamp Palace first. But Swerb is going to be
turning in the mushroom, it looks like.
Turning in the Interesting he did this instead of just walking back from the Zora area. Might actually be slower.
So left side swamp was not useful.
Yeah, and if Swerb heads into Ice Palace and he gets a hint about that, he'll save a bit of time on someone for not visiting that left side. But that's a big if. Nothing good from the mushroom. Did a hard reset. Oh, he didn't find the powder yet.
No, so he's gonna fake powder.
Yeah.
Or at least leave that as an option.
Alright, so someone is heading towards Dark Kakariko again. I'm wondering, he'll probably be grabbing all of the dwarf related stuff, maybe even grabbing the purple chest first. Now that I think about it, it might have been a bit more efficient for him to do this before heading into Swamp. Although I guess he can just save and quit and walk down there anyway.
Yeah, it depends on how he wants to route it. If he stays in the Dark World, or if he keeps his Dark World portal, he can walk over to the portal, the water portal above swamp, and turn in mushroom and then do catfish, and just get that whole check out of the way. But at least he has the powder when he's in this area, so he can do one extra check at the time.
So Swerb is heading into swamp. I don't disagree with this check. It's just someone's already done it, so he's not going to be showing us anything. I don't believe that someone has turned, or sorry, Swerb has turned in the purple chest, so that will be new to us if someone decides to do it.
Yeah, I don't recall him doing that. He did the blacksmith and then did other stuff afterward. Which made sense. I think he was doing village at that time. So grabbing the purple chest would have taken them way out of the way.
So, at about an hour in, we are tied up on crystals. The crystal layout is a bit different between these two players. Someone just needs to go into Thieves Town at some point and finish off Vitreous. We know there's no item there, and Swerb is going to spend a jolly good time here in Swamp Palace. So I think at this rate, someone has a few minutes of advantage, depending on how the rest of the seed shakes out.
Yeah, the routing has been a little bit more efficient. Leaving the purple chest.
Maybe he's planning on finishing off Vitreous first?
Yeah, if he's coming up here, that's probably what he's going to do.
The only thing about this is the fact that we know where the fire rod is, and if someone had the fire rod, he could very easily have comboed this dungeon along with Skull Woods to save a little bit of time.
Yeah, with no flute for easier travel through the world, that would have made a bit more sense. But even still, the fact that he's gone through Palace of Darkness and he's still on a crystal even, and then maybe crystal ahead soon, he has a little bit of a lead.
Yeah, the chances of him falling to Vitreous here are pretty slim. I mean, he did a pretty good job before when he only had the fighter's sword. Or was it only the fighter? I think so.
He only had fighter at this time because he found the master sword after he left.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I like to check all of Village of Outcasts before heading into Thieves Town. There's any number of items that can make your life easier in Thieves Town, especially in Randomizer. But so far he's doing really well. And someone is actually getting some additional hits on the big eye, which actually does damage to the boss, to the final.
Much better fight this time.
Yep, that gives him the crystal advantage, and like you said, he also has cleared out everything in Palace of Darkness except for the boss. So he even has that as additional advantage. In fact, I don't think Swerb has done much of anything other than the Zora area that someone hasn't done already.
Yeah, someone's had a bit more efficient of a routing through the overworld.
Interestingly enough, someone is going to be checking the graveyard ledge, it looks like, first. Now, it's a chest in here. It's not a freestanding item, so it couldn't be anything that any hint has.
No, this is a freestanding item, but Swerb already checked it. It's, I think, just a piece. No, this was the green bottle.
Oh, okay. And someone's going to take it.
So Swerb not going back into to Swamp Palace, that's going to save him a bit of time. pretty sure he didn't go left side.
Yeah, that's good for Swerb. And we're going to be seeing Ice Palace for the first time. Someone has had access to it. It's just that the Fire Rod is going to make it a bit easier. But
which he should get soon, though. With him being up here, looks like he is going to check the mushroom, catfish, and then go up to Zora area.
Yeah, a nice check. What was that hint?
I think Heart and Cash requires Big Bomb.
Okay, so we know that now that the red crystals are not really needed for us today. So yeah, someone is about to reach item parity once more, grabbing that fire rod from the waterfall cave. Did Swerb not check the catfish?
He didn't. He just did Light World flipper spots.
Okay. So this is also new on someone's screen. Catfish has been known to troll runners from time to time with good items. Unfortunately, not today. Just 50 rupees.
And there's the fire rod for someone.
A shovel is in the castle. Old news.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of old news.
Unfortunately, the hint system does not have anything that requires hints to be actually used.
It just makes it more interesting.
So we're having a little bit of trouble here with the Ice Palace bomb jump. Not the easiest thing to do. Nope, that was a little bit too low as well.
That's going to also be too low.
So it's a bit harder to tell when you have the Master Sword. I mean, I think that's, vanilla. Actually, no, I think you have tempered by the time you get here in a speedrun. It looks like Swerb is giving up down to 1 heart, so he's just going to do the dungeon normally.
Which makes sense, because I've always heard that if you're planning to full clear anyways, and you've got the cane and hook shot, might as well just skip the bomb jump.
Yeah, but Swerb unfortunately falls into a pit, takes the last heart away, and now he has to go back downstairs again. That is not a good thing to happen. Ice Palace is a real pain to dip multiple times.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get back down there.
And it looks like that's where someone is heading now. He's heading back towards Ice Palace.
It makes sense.
So both runners are going to be in the same.
Yeah, because with 3 items here plus the 3 hints, I don't think there's any other item dense location for them. I don't remember how many items they got in Skull Woods, but that's really the only other place they could go.
Yeah. So, items we know we need. We know we need the bow, eventually, to finish Palace of Darkness. We know we need the flute to get to Misery Mire, and considering the book is inside of Misery Mire, that means that the flute is our only way into Desert Palace. At least, until... It's the only way we're ever going to get access to that area until we visit the area that we can just mirror from.
Yeah, and the potential items we might need is Ice Rod and Boots. Ice Rod if we ever come across a Trinex boss, and Boots for if we have to grab an item off the any of the torches. Also, we need ether to get into Turtle Rock.
Oh, yes. Ether for Turtle Rock. And the thing that would be really devious, what if we don't find a Trinex until, say, like Moldorm 2 or Land Molus 2? And we just have to leave.
Yeah, then where's the ice rod as well?
I mean, considering it's all dungeons, the chances of us missing the ice rod along the way, unless we just do go mode strats in some of the dungeons, are pretty slim. Swerb. Okay, he's going back for that heart.
But it'll be interesting to see if what ends up coming into play. Because as we mentioned, some bosses can be duplicated, some can be skipped. You don't know what you're going to find where.
Mm-hmm. Swerb having a little bit of trouble here in this ice room, but gets... These freezors do not get randomized. Someone also having a bit of trouble with this bomb jump today. Looks like he's using the spin buffer strats to try and position himself, which I think gives you a bit of like a pixel of flexibility if you're all the way at the exact edge. And someone also gives up and takes the long way. A unique item requires a bomb. Bottles are unique. What was that?
I think the generic enemy that's usually there, just the sprite became off.
That is a bit strange. Zarby needs to explain himself. Oh, I was told bottles are unique, but maybe that's not true.
Yeah, because as chat's pointing out, there's 4 of them, so it doesn't seem very unique.
I don't know. I heard that they were unique. There's our boots. That's a really good item to see.
Good item to see, but only right now unlocks 2 items.
Yeah, but it also makes us really fast.
We all like to go fast.
And someone's going to be grabbing those boots here in a second as well. We're having a bit of a high five situation right there.
So what else are we going to find in Ice Palace, if anything?
I mean, with the boots, I think it's a very good possibility that one of those overworld locations that requires the boots has something good for us. Especially...
Yeah, that looks like the 3rd item.
Yeah. Fortunately, Swerb needs to take the long way, I think. Nope. He does have the Canis... No, never mind. We need another key from this next room. And we do have the Canis Maria, so we can just go downstairs. Thankfully, this is not pot shuffle.
Oh yeah, pot shuffle would be the worst.
That was a weird bonk. Like, usually, if you dash upon entering a room into a doorway that has a key lock on it, you can unlock the door because you're spaced correctly to do so. But I guess Swerb might have accidentally taken a step. Yeah, someone did the same thing.
Well, someone else didn't have a key.
Oh, that's true.
And we got another Mothula.
Mothula number 2. I want to see Mothula number 5. We can get Dr. Bob Tastic to write Mothula number 5 for us.
That'd be amusing. And both runners actually got a good sized bomb drop through that last room with the switch. After spending so many bombs trying to do the bomb jump, they got the refill back.
Okay, so Swerb, where are you going now? You have the boots. You're heading up this area. You're probably going to be checking Bonk Rocks and Kingston.
Seems like the play. You just got the boots. It's an easy location to get to.
Yeah, when you're following breadcrumbs, well, now the chances are a bit lowered, considering there's only one other location unlocked by our boots. But that could still have something good for us, like, say, the flute at Bonk Rocks.
That'd be nice to have. Then we get access to 2 dungeons, or potentially 2, depending on what the medallion is for Mire.
Someone is doing the exact same thing. Do not disagree. 2 big 20s. Complete debate.
So unless they didn't get both items in Skull Woods, I guess that's probably the next play. I can't think of anything else that they can do. Oh, Desert, because they haven't even checked Agina.
Yeah, Agina having the flute would be not great. If I were either of these runners and I saw the flute at Agina, I would feel so far behind that I would potentially just forfeit, like right there. But that's why I'm not in this tournament.
Yeah, so someone is actually running out of locations. They'll probably check first. That was a good deal of sync.
Sync! Swerb got confused. Removed the sync for it.
But I think if it's not desert area, then purple chest I think is the last item that they both need to do. Otherwise, Swerb has to either go back into swamp, which we know is nothing, or go to pod, which we know is nothing.
Yeah. Well, Swerb hasn't been to pod, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, if someone's likely going to find their item, but if Swerb doesn't, he might decide to do one of those because it has maybe better item location than the one-off.
I'm actually a bit surprised he hasn't gone there yet. But the way he's playing, I think he's playing like he's lost a lot of time, which he has. Someone still has quite a bit of advantage in the form of having already cleared a lot of Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, we know the powder that he got in there is nothing, so so the only advantage is really finding the big key. I don't remember where it was in Palace of Darkness, but that's a pretty big time save, even if they remain as in sync as they have been.
Gotta say, this room is a lot better than the vanilla room on Swerb's side. With all the dang Gibdos.
Ooh, we got the Rafflecopter.
Oh. What?
I think this is my favorite boss room in Randomizer if Hamilsaur is here.
I gotta say, this is the first time I'm seeing this. Look at him go. Okay, so someone first to break the mask. Swerb needs to be a bit careful. Thankfully, the spikes aren't moving if other bosses are here other than Mothula. Stuck in the bottom there. All right, there's the flute. That's great. That's great for both of our runners. They're going to be both on the same track, heading over towards Desert Palace first, most likely. Then if they can, going into Misery Mire.
Yeah, this seems like the better play.
Okay. So, again, all we need for sure is a bow and Ether Medallion. And we know where the book is. It's in Misery Mire, but we might not need.
Yeah, so it'll be really interesting if there is a Trinex somewhere along the, because then where is the ice rod at that point?
Alright, both of our runners activating the flute almost simultaneously. It's crazy to see how close these runners are. I mean, we know someone has a bit of an advantage, but you can pretend that he doesn't, and that they're neck and neck.
So I think the reason someone did the order that he did it in is that he might actually go to pick up the purple chest with the flute, flute over to drop it off, and then do my area while he's here.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Swerb is confused, I think. Oh no, he's gonna check the magic.
Yeah.
But even still, he could have done the purple chest into magic bat, or rather, the magic bat, and then grab the purple chest, or grab the purple chest. Yeah, whatever. The point is that they're both right there.
Which we know this is going to be nothing for him.
Yeah, nothing but a lot of lost magic. But he does have a green potion.
He could have had two if he picked up the other one, but he didn't.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna check out what Gary has for us today, and then he's probably just heading off to the mine. Oh, the ice rod!
Wow,
that could be good. We don't know.
But at least he doesn't have to hunt around for it. So now we know all someone needs is bow and ether medallion, and he's good for the rest of the game.
All right, Bombos gets you into Mire. There's our bow. Wow. This area is positively stacked.
So do we get ether in this area as well? Just to get go mode while we're here?
Why not? Not there, though. And, yep, Chad is pointing out, if we do see a Trinex, that means someone has an additional advantage in the form of actually having the Ice Rod versus Swerb. Kind of, didn't get it. He probably won't get it.
Yeah, there's only that one item check left in that area to get the purple chest. The likelihood of him going back is pretty low, unless he's exhausted everything else. Especially since Bo is going to take him over to Pulse of Darkness.
Got a somewhat annoying desert palace here. We have to zigzag through the dungeon because of the way the keys were laid out. Thankfully, we have the boots to make it faster. It's a Lionel, by the way. It might not look like one, but believe me, it is one. That's actually the first one we've seen, I think.
Yeah, it's been pretty nice in that aspect. Although a room full of Igor.
Well, at least they're green ones. I don't think the game can put red ones in kill rooms.
Not from what I understand, they can't.
Ah, there's our compass.
So the boss has the last item.
Yep, looks like we're going to be seeing the boss soon. Swerb better hope that it's not Trinex. Swerb better hope we never see Trinex today.
Yeah, there has been a couple Randomizer seeds I've seen that have skipped bosses, So it is entirely possible.
Well, we will definitely have a skipped boss because we've seen at least one duplicate.
But there is duplicates in Ganon's tower, so
yeah.
maybe some of the missing ones are there.
That's true. Alright. Time for the moment of truth, at least for Swerb's fate. Is this going to be Trinex? I mean, there's still a lot of bosses left. No! It's our third land molas. These things need to... Like, we needed an exterminator or something.
Well, he's using the fire rod for that.
Well, they probably
Pretty
lay
good.
their eggs down under the sand. We need to go under there to root out the cause. I assume they give birth by eggs, or they reproduce by eggs. It'd be kind of weird if they didn't. Swerb isn't gonna have magic for this.
Well, he has that one little pop, but yeah, he's otherwise out of magic. And that makes sense. Someone is now immediately going to Misery Mire.
Yep. If he's lucky, he'll find the book before he finds the big key. Then he'll have no reason. Well, I guess he's still looking for another item.
Yeah, once he finds one item, if it's not the book, he knows he can, in theory, skip it if he doesn't really care about the tablets.
Oh, that is true. He does have silvers. Never mind. I forgot they found the bow. Well, that's an interesting bit of scrolling on someone's screen. Never seen that before.
This room is much nicer without the BMOS.
And vanilla ether would probably be one of the most obnoxious ways to get it. Now, this is all dungeons, and that means we could very easily have ether inside of Ganon's tower. Because Turtle Rock is a pendant.
Yep, that's possible.
It is the God Mire, too. Does someone decide to go mode it? Just go to the boss, or are we going to be seeing all the items in here?
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if after finishing off Palace of Darkness, if they can just go up to Ganon's tower to try to find it, or if they continue to check Overworld.
I think doing Ganon's tower once you have the ability to do so is probably the best bet. The reason being that you'll likely have to check a lot of it regardless, and the checks upstairs don't take a lot of time.
That's a fair point.
But someone is being a bit pessimistic, thinking there might be something good in here. I mean, he knows the book's in here somewhere, and it is the second item. We're going to the cutscene chest. Swerb?
Or at least checking the hint around here.
That's true. Swerb could potentially gain a bit of time back if he decided to just go mode this dungeon right now. Could also potentially damn himself. And we're not go moding the dungeon. Gonna be seeing this hint. It is. Piece of heart is fire locked in Tower of Hair.
Which both runners already got anyways.
Yeah. Old news.
So just to be evil, I kind of want to see Trinex in here. Just for how long it would take to get all the way back to the boss after finding the ice rod.
Personally, I want this to be close. I want this to be a close race. So I really want there to be no Trinexes.
I mean, that's the thing as well.
So Swerb falling into the same trap here, whereas someone found the book in the big chest.
Both items are now got. Go right to the boss.
Yeah, and after this dungeon is done, someone's probably going to capitalize on that earlier investment in Palace of Darkness and probably just run directly to the boss there, finish it off, and I would wager head into Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a bad play.
Yeah, and even checking Ether Tablet beforehand.
Yeah, because you're going to be right up there. Might as well. And if it's there, you just run back to Tower Rock to beat it, and then go back to Ganon's Tower.
Alright, so Swerb also getting the book, going to be able to go directly to the boss now. Both of our runners have red mail. That means both of our runners are now cowards, unfortunately. There's a red mimic, and it's actually able to be defeated with swords. Hey! It's a single-eyed Moldorm.
I think he's pretending to be a pirate.
He lost his eye in the Moldorm Wars. Those are dark times. That is also our green pendant. Someone might actually turn that in along the way to Palace of Darkness with another opportunity to grab.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a bad play. Like, you're going to be in that area anyways, just quickly mirror over.
Yeah, it always feels weird to see an easy boss in a late game dungeon. Like, for whatever reason, to me at least, seeing really difficult bosses in early game dungeons feels a lot more natural to Randomizer. But then again, maybe I'm just going into Randomizer thinking, or just expecting troll.
Yeah, it hasn't been too troll this seed. At least in terms of the enemies.
Yeah, it's been a very tame Randomizer, gotta say. Okay, someone is taking out the mirror, so he's gonna be talking to Uncle Sasrala here. Gonna be turning in our green pendant, and for what? A piece, or just a heart container. He just really loves the fact that you showed him that green thing on a chain.
So this is where we're going to see a bit more of the actual gap come into play.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Swerb is gonna check this guy. Did someone check Ganon?
I don't think he has.
This could be big. Yeah. Maybe someone was just realizing, you know, the chances of Ether being in Ganon's Tower are actually pretty high. Even with the junk pre-fill. But fortunately nothing good here. And someone's able to just head right up to where Helmosaur typically is. And here's hoping it's not a Trinex.
At least if it is, it prevents going into Ganon's Tower. So that means Swerb will have a better idea of where the Ice Rod would be.
Yeah, that's true.
Vanilla Trinex, I think, at this point will be much worse.
Yeah, at this point, I think someone has about maybe like a 5-minute advantage right now. Swerb is only entering Palace of Darkness for the first time and is going to have to spend a lot of time clearing out the front side of it. And also, I guess, the Dark Maze and all that. Someone too cool for this room, just going to burn it.
It is the quick way of clearing it when it's not the turtles.
Yeah, it's just not a fun room. Just responding to something in chat. I think we got a hint for Pyramid Fairy, and it was just junk.
Heart Container and Cash in Pyramid Fairy.
Yep, and we have a vanilla Helmosaur. That's our second Helmosaur. This one, unfortunately, is not cosplaying a helicopter. And with the silver arrow, that boss is not very hard.
Alright, that's someone's 7th crystal. We'll see if they actually go up to the mountain. Like you said, it seems to be the better play.
Yeah, I mean, he's done everything in every dungeon so far. And has done pretty much everything on the Overworld except for some stray locations. So this seems like the best play. Okay, we'll get going up to Ganon's Tower.
So we can actually. So now that we know he's going up there, we can start the big key guessing game.
Yep.
Take your guess, 1 to 22, where you think the big key is going to be.
Ah, someone took my guess already. Let's just go with 10.
To answer the person in chat, Ice Rod was in the purple chest.
We should also have a guessing game for, like a side guessing game for where the Ether Medallion is. How many chests we're going to have to check before we find it. But we'll start that, I guess, once this game stops. Or just keep that number in your mind and you can feel proud if you got it right.
I'm going to say it's Voldemort's last possession. So basically the very last chest before you face Ega 2.
So that's like... Well, it depends.
It would technically be 27 if you get all the chests.
Yeah, but you might also go upstairs first. I don't know. I'd probably clear the entirety of this dungeon before heading upstairs. Because it takes a while to get back up here.
I think even if you find Ether, I would complete Ganon's Tower.
Alright, not forgetting we have the book. What do we got? Vanilla Ether? No. And Swerb is just showing just how much time he was behind, even though it looked like he was very close behind someone for the longest time. He's spending a lot of time here in Palace of Darkness. That's a interesting sprite. No small keys to be had on the right side there, so we're gonna have to go full left probably, unless he wants to do something weird.
Nah, full left seems to be a good play.
This red beetle is not being nice. Oh, we stopped it. Okay. Anyway, your guesses are all locked in. We're already at chest number 4. Got our mirror shield, so a little bit of lag added.
Nothing through 7 chests.
Now, I'm wondering if Swerb is going to do the exact same thing after getting his 7th crystal here. If he's going to head up to Ganon's tower, if he's going to start doing something a bit weird in terms of checking other overworld locations. It's an interesting boomerang strat there. I typically see a different strat there. I'm surprised that one worked. Alright, that's number 9. We are heading into the rando room.
So 10 through 13, we'll see if we get either Big Key or Ether through any of these.
Tempered Sword
is not good, not bad.
And
there's Ether.
So we are in true go mode now.
So at this point, I think I would actually, once you find the Big Key, mirror out to go to Turtle Rock.
Yeah,
and then come back.
That's a good idea, because then you're in the basement. You can just run back upstairs once you get the Big Key. So yeah, you can avoid having to climb this area again. Hopefully that's what someone does.
That fire bar just completely knocked him down.
I dare many players to do this room without a bomb jump or a bonk, without lighting the torch. Like, I have no idea what the path is. Ooh, Ice Armos. Or not Armos, Argus.
But that was a timely tempered sword find before coming here.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot easier.
And in Randomizer, if you beat the first phase of Argus, you could just go through the door. It unlocks the door.
So yeah, I believe it's similar to the potion glitch in Palace of Darkness, where it assumes there's no enemies on screen, so therefore it opens the door.
Mm-hmm. So someone is going to have to go left side or right side here. I'm wondering if it's going to be Tile Room Big Key. I mean, we're down to 5 checks, so it's about a 20% chance.
So still the one question left is whether there's a Trinex and if that Ice Rod is needed. Otherwise, Swerb is in go mode as well.
Yeah. I'm going to assume that there's no Trinex at this point. We've seen so many duplicates. There's our Big Key.
Chest 20.
Chest 20.
And other than Butter Sword and Red Boomerang, someone has a full item inventory.
Yep. It's always a good sign when you finish a scene with every single item slot filled. And he's doing what you were saying. Going over towards Turtle Rock first. Saving himself a trip up the mountain. And we got a little bit of a high five there.
Yeah, this seems like the better play in terms of a time save. I mean, if you found ether on the climb up in one of those 4 chests, ooh, that roller. But if you found the ether in the climb up, it wouldn't make sense. Just finish the dungeon, the tower, I mean. But finding it in the basement, you haven't committed to the climb yet. Might as well just leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, finding ether in the climb would have been not fun. But this is probably the best case scenario. So we got a go mode Turtle Rock. Not really that much faster than a non-go mode Turtle Rock, especially if the key layout is a bit trolly. But we also only have, what, 4 more locations for bosses? So I'm sure somebody in chat can math it out, what the chances of Trinex appearing are. That's, what, 10 unique bosses, and at least one Trinex, where it's a 10% chance in 4 different locations.
I think there's only 3 bosses left. Turtle Rock.
Oh, sorry, yeah, we
Lenmo
also...
and Moldorm 2.
We saw Ice Harmos, I forgot. I just added 3 in my head for Ganon's Tower.
So I guess the one good thing is the fact that even a go mode Turtle Rock doesn't take that much less time than a non-go mode Turtle Rock, considering you still have to find most of the keys.
So yeah, we method out, chat method out as well. It's 27% of chance of Trinex. We need like a Hyrule Weatherman for Randomizer.
Just someone on hand to read out the percentages at any given time.
Yeah. Don't go outside today, ladies and gentlemen. Got a 70% chance of Trinex.
So Swerb about to find his ether medallion.
Oh.
And his tempered sword.
Yeah, and Zarby giving us some information. Trinex can't actually be at Moldorm 3 because it can't be in large rooms like the one where Moldorm 3 exists.
Okay, so there's 2 more chances that Trinex could show up. Swerb does the exact same thing someone did, waited to think they could just jump over or bonk over it, gets knocked down instead.
Yeah, this is honestly not one of the hardest bonks or bomb jumps. It's only like 1 tile wide. Well, 1 like link width wide. So it's really lenient. But that fire bar, not very nice. So we're also happy he has this tempered sword. I'm wondering where the butter sword is. Could be on Laser Bridge here, could be upstairs in Ganon's Tower. Could be in tile room for all we know.
Yeah, they've checked most everything else, so there's not many places it could be.
See you later, Argus. Sorry I killed your children.
So let's see what boss we have in Turtle Rock.
Yep. Swerb doing the exact same thing as someone.
That color change.
We also, it's another single eye Moldorm. I don't know if that's like if every Moldorm is going to be like that. I'm sure Zarby can say, and that's
There's
our
your Butter Sword. So we're just missing the red boomerang.
Yeah, but are we really missing it?
I like seeing all the items in the tracker.
All right, so someone is going to be the first one going upstairs in Ganon's tower. And, yeah. We know there aren't going to be any red mimics, red Igors in our way. So it's just a test of how can you deal with all these enemies, basically. Oh my goodness! These Hinoxes are such trolls. Oh man. It's like they wanted to do that. This room's actually really nice. The spikes just turned into popos, and wow, this is a really forgiving climb so far. We don't have Beamos to worry about. We're gonna see Gauntlet coming up soon. It's funny just how many bouncing spikes there are when you see rooms like this. And the bouncing spikes get turned into other enemies. Unfortunately, these Ganon Ball Z shooters do not turn into anything in Randomizer. I could have sworn in earlier versions they did, and that sometimes you could get like the cannonball shooters as other enemies, but maybe I'm mistaken.
That would have been fun to see.
Yeah. So we're at the beginning of Gauntlet here. This is a very easy-looking Gauntlet so far. These rats actually are masquerading. They're actually the Buzz enemies, I'm pretty sure, in Dark World, regardless of what their sprite looks like. So they do 2 hearts of damage if you have green mail, but we have red at this point.
Overall, the room's not too bad in Gauntlet.
Yeah. Those, I always forget the name of those enemies, those burrowing sand creatures. Oh, hey, look, it's Argus again. And we're gonna see... Sorry we're killing your children again, Argus. But we have to get upstairs. Yep, and that also tells us no Trinex. Someone almost forgetting about the fact that the door just opens. This room is a lot less interesting in Randomizer, I think. You actually kind of have to know the layout. Another room that is made less interesting, I think, in Randomizer. Mainly because I really like that cane strat. Someone throwing caution to the wind, risking the despawn. Although I think he had more than enough time. So, once we're done with Aga 2, that's not it. We still have one more dungeon to do.
Yep, Castle Tower.
Yeah. Wow, that's a really mean I missed that on when someone did it. It's a really mean chain chomp. And this is our third single-eyed Moldorm. I guess they had one eye added, and then they split into 3.
Yes. Full item tracker.
I'm surprised he checked that, considering he didn't check the other 2 chests upstairs. That's been, what, 3 Moldorms, 2 Mothulas, 2 Helmasaur, 2 Arguses. We've not had a ton of boss diversity in the seed. Oh, also 3 Landmolas. So we never saw Armos. Never saw Blind, Cold Stare, Trinex. Someone's having a fun time here fighting the Geometry Wizard. Oof. There we go. Swerb getting his Butter Sword. Alright, so we are about less than 2 hours in, but again, we do need to head into Aga Tower, make that climb, and beat Aga 1. I like that bonk over the pit there. It's very stylish. Alright, so even though Randomizer does switch up these enemies a lot, we are fully kitted out. We have everything we could ever hope to want to finish this tower. So really, it's just a death march until the end, until Ganon breathes his last breath. And thankfully, there's not a ton of kill rooms in this dungeon as well.
Yeah, and it should be the same for Swerb when he comes here as well. The last troll will be how many blue balls Aga 1 will be.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Swerb also decided to leave the right side of Ganon's tower until after Turtle Rock. I don't think it really loses him any time, but it's just an interesting routing difference because someone got Ganon's tower big key beforehand. This seed is probably the nicest Randomizer seed I've ever seen to the runners. I mean. Interesting place for a Hinox. I think only soldier-type enemies, like the guards and maybe the Moblin guards. I think only they can fall off cliffs. And also like Helmasaurs and stuff like. Hinoxes only ever show up in the Overworld typically, so they weren't programmed to fall. So, assuming someone takes his victory, which is looking very much assured at this point, there is going to be another race versus Swerb in a little bit. That is going to be, I believe, a hard key sanity, and someone, as we said earlier on, someone needs to win that to force a tiebreaker, or even have it as a potential.
Yeah, I believe Swerb had a game versus Sonicam, which was Sonicam's last game. So Sonicam is 11-4. Someone would need to win this game and the next game versus Swerb to tie, and then force that tiebreaker to see who moves on to bracket.
Yeah. This has been a very difficult group if Swerb is having this much trouble in it. He's been in these tournaments for quite some time. Basically, I don't know if he was in the original one, but I know he was in the first open mode. So at this point, Swerb, I think, is either playing for pride or to deny the tiebreak.
It never hurts playing your races out, especially if it's going to be this close. You don't want to give someone a free win.
Yeah.
See if you can play spoiler.
And we have Ganon. Ganon is not difficult with Gold Sword, like, whatsoever. Takes 6 hits in each of the first 2 phases, so he's already triggered the 3rd phase. I like these nice NMG strats. Ganon being slightly teleport happy here in this 3rd phase. Oh, being nice here. The seed has had a lot of high noxes, I will say that. Yes, we did find the silver arrows in the light world. Thanks for asking. And this is a potential triple situation. Yes. So, that about does it for this race. Once someone goes through that door, it'll be GG for him. It'll be, what, 11-4? Or 3?
With this, someone moves up to 10-4.
10-4. Okay. Alright. So, GG to someone. We will see if he wants to come in for an interview. Swerb is now just heading up into AGA 2, so he's a bit behind. Alright, so, Geometry Wizard 2. Swerve's having a nice time so far, looks like. Never mind. Alright, got a double there, so I think we're down to one more. Oh, 2 more heads. Not entirely sure if someone is going to be joining us, but we do have this interesting looking bat flying into the pyramid. That's not something you're going to see anywhere else. Swerve daintily walking around the pit instead of bonking over it. I too appreciate a good preservation of my bonk count. Ah, someone is in the waiting room, so we'll drag him in. Hello, someone, and congratulations on your win.
Hey, thank you. GG's.
So, as we were saying on the stream, this is this series, I guess, is important for you to stay in the tournament, right?
Oh yeah.
So, your next race, your final race, is this your final race next?
Yeah, it's my last race.
Okay, so
Unless
that
I get a tiebreaker.
yeah, so that's going to be against Swerb here in a bit. So I guess first, like, how do you feel going into that race?
This race or that race?
That race.
I played Keith Sandy for a long time, and it's been mean to me lately, but I'll just see how it is. It shouldn't be too difficult with hard, because we're hopefully gonna get swords.
Cool. I guess about this seed, honestly, like, it was pretty linear for quite some time. Like, it didn't really open up until very late. I get one of the bigger differences between you and Swerb. I mean, Swerb had a few hiccups along the way, but you got several minutes ahead, and a lot of that had to do with routing. Do you want to talk a bit about your philosophy when routing?
I just went to... I forget where I made most of the time difference, but I basically, aside from dipping pod, I went through dungeons I can clear, or have a reasonable chance of clearing.
Yeah, I think in this case it was when you went up to the mountain. That was when the seeds really started to open up. You had the mirror for quite some time. Both of you did, and neither of you... well, actually, Swerb went up the mountain before he had the mirror. So that delayed him going back up there. But it looks like Swerb might... Oh, he might not forfeit. Anyway. Both of you... Sorry.
Do you fall to Ganon or something? I'm not watching, I should.
He's an Aga. Aga 1 now. So both of you ended up going to the mountain pretty late until it was one of the last things you did. I think Swerb, the main difference between you and Swerb for a lot of this race was the fact that you went through Palace of Darkness a lot earlier than he did. You and Swerb ended up going into Palace of Darkness within a few minutes of each other near the end, but that your second time through was nearby his first time entering the dungeon.
Yeah, I figured that was going to be a double dip with something required in the front, but there really wasn't anything I remember. And if there was the bow in there, then that would be really big for me.
Yeah, whose pick was this, by the way? Was this yours or Swerb's?
This was a Swerv's pick.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting that, from what I hear, an overarching philosophy in terms of the seed picking is, if you feel you have an edge in execution, you should probably try to opt to do all dungeons. But honestly, it seemed like in this seed you out executed Swerb in most of the cases.
Yeah, I guess he just really wanted to do all dungeons. Maybe he doesn't want to get screwed over by item locations.
Yeah. Actually, there was a very big potential. You found the ice rod, but he never did.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we were wondering if we were ever going to see Trinex.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I basically full cleared along the way and didn't miss any items, just in case. Because we were running out of item locations, it seemed like we had to go through each dungeon, and I didn't want to miss anything on the way.
Yeah. I feel like you were especially thorough in your checks. Swerb skipped some locations, like the left side of Swan Palace, I believe. So yeah, I think you've checked everything. When we got near the end and, you were about to enter into Turtle Rock, it was pretty much apparent that the only other place you could go, reasonably speaking, was Ganon's Tower to find your go mode item.
Yeah, and Boundless Tablet. And at that point, if Ether was at that one location, then oh well.
Yep. And Swerb finishes off Ganon. Don't have his time up, but because he accidentally reset it, but
it was 209.10 in SRL.
Okay, we'll see if he wants to come in for an interview. So yeah, this seed was really, really nice to both of you in terms of the Randomizer.
Yeah.
None of the rooms that are considered like really dangerous in Randomizer really had anything going for them. Like that one dark room in Palace or in Eastern Palace was just a bunch of guards.
Yeah, we found lamp super early, so you didn't have to like go through that in the dark or anything. Also, none of the bosses were difficult except for like Vitreous and Thieves Town, but there was no items on him, so you could skip that for later.
Yeah, that was actually another interesting parallel between your two races. Both of you died to Vitreous. Both of you had trouble with the Ice Palace bomb jump.
Yeah, I don't know why that would happen. Maybe it was the Master Sword.
I think there was another death both of you took. I can't remember. I think it was probably on the Overworld somewhere. But yeah, like
I think Vitreous was my only not-intentional death.
yeah, Swerb had died in Ice Palace, which was a majority of his time. His time lost, I should say.
And it seems rough.
Yeah. So do you have anything else you want to say about this seed?
No, it was pretty kind, straightforward.
Cool. Well, good luck in the next race. I know chat and anybody watching will probably be wanting to see another victory, so we can see a tiebreaker race.
More races is always good. We might start it like 30 minutes early, it looks like. So like, you guys would see it at like 7 o'clock.
All right. Sorry for dominating the interview. Iceman, you have any questions or thoughts?
You basically said and asked basically what I wanted to ask. Anyways, I was also dealing with some stuff in the back end, so that's totally.
So I don't believe Swerb is going to be joining us. He hasn't responded and is not in the waiting room. So I guess we can probably end it here. I guess just shout-outs. Let's give some shout-outs to Sinak, our restreamer, Hahasel, our tracker, and the Link to the Past Randomizer community. Everybody involved. Big shout-outs to the racers today. They put on a good show. Big shout-outs to the viewers. And shout-outs to Iceman, my co-commentator.
Yeah, it was a really fun race to watch.
Yeah, cool. So I guess that about does it for us. So hopefully you guys will show up. Well, actually, let's see if there's any soon. It looks like the final in the series is actually going to be televised or broadcasted on the same channel. So if it's at 7:30 or 7, you should be here.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be 6:30.
6:30. Okay. All right. So be here in 45 minutes or be square. In the meantime, there's another race on A Link to the Past Randomizer 2, inverted swordless hard mode, Kern versus the Thalane. So, yeah. A lot of other races later on tonight and tomorrow.
I believe that race on ALTTPR 2 was actually the second game of a doubleheader as well.
Okay. It's actually the races are actually light. Speed gaming is really busy this weekend, so most of the races are actually handled on these Links to the Past Randomizer channels. You can check the schedules if you're really interested in watching these races and don't mind, you know, the lack of commentary and all that. You can still pop open their streams and side by side and just pretend. Do your own commentary. But there might be other races added to the schedule. Anyway, that about does it for us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next mission.
Later, everyone.